Hi, we're back again.
Part 2
Part two of
today.
day 7.
And we were reading in chapter 19, and we ended at the end of verse 5. So we'll start at verse 6. Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind them and said, Oh, before I go on, we were just talking about how did Lot recognize these as angels? And Linda suggested that maybe back in the earlier part that we read in Genesis, that the sons of God came down and had sex with the women of the earth, and giants were created. And wonder whether these angels are bigger in stature, and that's how he recognized them.
He obviously stood out because the whole community came to try to violate them.
Yeah. So back to chapter 19, verse 6. Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them up to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, if they have come under the protection of my roof. Ooh, that doesn't rest good with me. He gives his daughters. Verse 9. Get out of our way, they replied, and they said, This fellow came here as an alien, and now he wants to play the judge? We'll treat you worse than them. They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so that they could not find the door. The 2 men said to Lot, Do you have anything else here? Sons-in-laws? Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-laws or daughters or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, Hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But the sons-in-laws thought he was joking.
Just a minute. It said all the men of the city came to violate these angels. Wouldn't his sons-in-laws have been one of those men coming to violate the angels?
I guess so. I don't know.
And if
Says
they were
all of them.
pledged to marry his daughters, they wouldn't protect the daughters if they got thrown out. What a corrupt society.
Yeah. Verse 15. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished. When he hesitated, the men grabbed his hand and hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, Flee for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away. But Lot said to them, No, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I cannot flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I will die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared.
He's bargaining with the death angels.
And the angel said to him, Very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. That is why the town was called Zoan. By the time Lot reached Zoan, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom. Zor. Okay. Why did I see it in there? Zor. Pardon me. By the time Lot reached Zor, the sun had reached over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, including all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back and she became a pillar of salt. I used to think when I was a kid, well, I wonder if she's still there. And then I realized, oh no, she'd have been dissolved by now with rain on her.
Yeah, that's true.
Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah, towards all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Lot and his daughters. Lot and his two daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his two daughters lived in a cave. One day the older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man around here to lie with us, as is the custom all over the earth. Let's get our father to drink wine and then lay with him and preserve our family line through our father." Boy, they sure did a lot of
Different things.
immoral.
Yeah, different. I was thinking about the Sodom and Gomorrah and them fleeing from it and living. When you think of like Hiroshima when they dropped that bomb, amazingly there were still some survivors. This was even worse than that bomb because it like flattened the place. Like it just,
Huh?
yeah, must have been quite the thing to live through, right?
Verse 33. That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and lay with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I lay with my father. Let us get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and lay with him so we can preserve our family line through our father." So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went and lay with him. Again he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father.
How could he get them pregnant and not be aware that they're there?
I don't know.
Strange. Go ahead, read some more.
You and
That's
I
it?
must have sheltered life because I've never been drunk, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. So is this the end of what you're reading?
Right to the bottom. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He was the father of Moabites of today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Amorites of today. And that ends the reading of the Old Testament for tonight.
Now we're going to Matthew. And we're going to read chapter 6. And it's about broken into subjects. The first subject is giving to the needy. And the second subject is prayer. And the third subject is fasting, which often goes with prayer. And then I think that's all I go to. How many verses?
1 to 18.
1 to 18.
Yeah.
So we're going to read giving, prayer, and fasting. Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by man. I tell you the truth, they have their reward in full. When you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. It's amazing that they blew trumpets as they made charitable acts.
Yeah.
This don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. It's like you just stick your hand in your pocket, close your eyes, and dump whatever's there in the plate, I guess. I don't know. It's an extreme example of modest giving, I guess. Okay, prayer. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received the reward in full. But when you pray, Go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you even ask Him. And when I read this to my children, they said then, why do we need to pray if He already knows what we need? But
I think it's for our good to ask.
and because it's a commandment, and we have to be obedient. And we get to join in and be a part of the answer that way too, I think, maybe because of the effort we put into prayer. I don't know. This then is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For if you forgive men when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. Fasting. When you fast, do not look sober as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show men they are fasting. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to men that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. So I guess the moral of the story so far is, whenever you worship God by being loving and kind to others, do it quietly.
In modesty.
And your attitude has to be to do it just because you love them, not to do it because you want to gain brownie points at the voting polls or in your family or community. Very interesting reads today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's late. And we thank you so much for taking the time to join us and watch the videos. We've had 2 people who did this thumbs down thing. They didn't write a comment on 2 of the videos. They didn't write a comment. Comments are appreciated. Someone thumbs down. It'd be nice if they'd critique it and let us know why they thumbs down. But it's like, high percentile of people who actually watched it and I guess enjoyed the videos. I hope that that you are, if you have any questions, or maybe you're hearing some things for the first time. Often when I read scriptures, things jump out at me that I've never noticed before.
Yeah.
So any thoughts, any questions, any prayer requests, just let us know. And thank you so much for being our accountability group and tuning in each day.
May God's blessing be upon you all.
And may your family be blessed too. Thank you for joining in the reading of the Word.
Bye.
Bye.